All right, so we are live. Sir Arnold, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, good afternoon, Sir Arnold. So, yeah, basically, magkakaroon tayo ng podcast, no? Well, we do not really have a specific format. Basically, what we aim kasi dito is we would like to have a conversation about what's happening right now in Australia, and at the same time, to give you a tea. Okay, kung saan, ano bang mga current na pinag-uusapan ng mga international students natin, what is really happening in Australia, and if in case you would like to pursue your dreams going there, then definitely all of the things for your consideration will be covered out. So before anything else, introduce muna kami. So my name is Jay. I'm the General Manager of Straightfoward Education. So ako po nag-oversee lahat ng study destination of Straightfoward like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and the USA. And so Arnold, pakilala ka muna.
Hi, everyone. I would like to greet you all a pleasant afternoon. So I hope you are doing great despite of the weather. No, crazy weather tayo today. Pero hopefully you're staying safe right there at your home. So yun, my name is Arnold po, and I am the destination manager for overseeing the application process for Australia and New Zealand as well. So I'm so excited for today. Sir, ano ba yung mga ano natin? Ano bang atin today?
Well, basically, this podcast is a new addition to Straightforward Education's initiatives, okay? Para, malaman natin kung ano bang nangyari sa mga study destinations ngayon for those aspiring international students. And, syempre, to this podcast, hindi lang natin pag-uusapan ang Australia. In the other podcasts as well that are still upcoming in collaboration with our staff, employees, and other key players sa industry like school representative. We will going to invite as well some immigration consultants and lawyer in the future. But for now, ang basic agenda natin dito is to discuss about what's happening right now in Australia and is it worth it? Okay? So, yeah. Let's start na, Sir Arnold. Kamusta ang Australia ngayon? Kaya pa ba natin or are we on the stable side?
Well, actually, sir, if you're going to take a look at it, currently, meron talagang mga changes na nangyari with regards to the policies in Australia when it comes to student visa processing. No, so nagkakagulo, ang daming mga aspiring international students na ngayon, naguguluhan, ang daming mga questions sa kanila. No, and right now maraming mga come up na hindrances for them to start their application. So that's why this is a very good opportunity for them to know kung paano natin sila matutulungan. So andun yung mga changes kasi with regards to, for example, dun sa show money, yung cost of living natin, requirement of the English proficiency. No? Pero if you're going to take a look at it, 5 years or 7 years ago, this was actually the current policy na pre-pandemic pa lang, di ba? So,
yes,
kumbaga, basically, we are used to this. No, we've been here before, and so by that time naman, we managed to still do a good job in terms of the application.
Well, that's right. Well, looking back, 5 years ago, basically, yung nangyayari ngayong requirement, like for example, yung pagbalik ng show money or English test, 5 or 7 years ago, basically, nandiyan na yan. Okay? It's just that
Yeah.
there was a pandemic happened, okay, all over the world, kung saan kinailangan ni Australia ngayon na mag-attract ng mas maraming tao. Well, in fact, just to give you a story time, Sir Arnold, basically, 5 years ago, I am supposed to becoming an international student as well in Australia. No, so during those time, this way back 2019. Okay, so basically, when I was applying, kung anong nangyari sa current immigration policies ngayon that requiring proof of funds in IELTS, ayun talaga yung parang requirement din nung nagpa-process ako. Unfortunately, the pandemic happens. Kaya nga lang, nag-stop ngayon yung application ko going to Australia. And now, look at here, we are now assisting international students rather than going there. But in the future, of course, we would still love to pursue the Australia dream. Okay? Well, 5-7 years ago, well, basically, itong paghigpit ng immigration, it's not really a considerations before na makapag-stay sa Australia as a permanent resident. It's just that recently, yung mga study destination kasi, the way that they are attracting international students is that gusto nila na yung mga international students nila will going to eventually have a contribution to the economy by becoming a permanent residency. However, all over study destinations kasi, like Australia, Canada, even UK or the US, medyo naghigpit na immigration policies because there's a consideration na namimit na nila ngayon yung numbers ng mga targeted nila. Okay,
Yes.
that's why yun, babalik lang ulit tayo. So basically, what's happening right now to the changes in Australia immigration policy, that's actually in place. Okay? Wag naman sana magkaroon ng panibagong pandemic para ulit, no?
Yes, so, sir.
Lumuwag pa, ganun. But yeah, for me, I can see it as a silver lining, okay, for our international students kasi since they are now being strict in regards to the immigration policies. Ngayon, nafi-filter out na talaga kung sino yung mga genuine students. Okay?
Exactly,
and then,
sir.
since nafi-fill out na yung mga genuine students, what is happening is that they are now making a way for those internationally educated professionals or people to, have an easy immigration track. So, naghigpit, pero kagandahan, naging maayos at yun, dahil maayos na, mas madali na tayo ngayon makakapag-transition. No, Sir Arnold?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Mm-mm. Well, looking back, Sir Arnold, no, you've been working with the Australia in international education sector for quite some time. Ano ba yung mga tingin mong tawag dito, something remarkable in the previous policy ni Australia?
Well, yung mga bagay na talagang remarkable or tumatatak for me, especially for those aspiring international students that with regards to the application process talaga, isa sa mga talagang hindrances nila is with regards to kung gaano naghigpit talaga yung immigration. It also, considering the show money and then the English proficiency. So, actually, this is one of the weakness ng mga Pilipino. Ayaw talaga nila mag-take ng English proficiency test without knowing, when you do apply for your permanent residency in the future, you would still be required for an English proficiency. So, why not take it now as, as a training ground for you na pagdating mo sa time na yun na mag-a-apply ka na ng permanent residency, then you have the advantage na because you've already experienced in taking English proficiency. Diba? So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, ayun na, kagaya ng sinabi mo, tawag dito. Sorry na, stuttered ako. This is my first podcast kasi online. I used to do some webinars. Okay, so, well, in regards to English proficiency, well, I know it's actually very challenging for some Filipinos, although we are English-speaking people. But pagdating sa exam, I used to take an IELTS kasi. Okay, so I do understand yung the anxiety itself, kung papasan ba ako, kung mamimit ko ba yung school admission. And at the same time, another consideration why people really, hindi naman hate, parang nag-aalinlangan sila mag-take ng IELTS. It's because it is expensive at the same time. However, I just want to let our audiences to know na hindi lang po IELTS yung possible option. Ano ba yung mga possible options natin, Sir Arnold, for English test?
Well, of course, andyan yung PTE, which is a computer-based exam. The difference is that for IELTS, but there is a human intervention. So while with PTE, this is a completely computer-based test.
Mm-hmm.
No, andun din yung TOEFL. No, so they can actually choose from various English proficiency tests. No, wherein according to some research and according to some experiences from our international students, if they were going to differentiate or compare each other, no, PTE is somehow quite easier
Right.
compared to the other English proficiency tests.
Mm-hmm. So aside from PTE, ano pang meron, Sir Arnold?
So, but of course, ano yan, sir, eh, eh, mm yeah, well, of course, despite na, syempre, sabi nga natin, maraming mga pwede nilang pagpilian na i-take, but then, of course, it will always depend on you kung saan ka mas komportable as a test taker, di ba? Syempre,
That's right.
tsaka they don't have to worry as well kasi una, marami silang mga pwedeng makita via online ng mga reviewers, no, or they can opt to go to an agency that provides reviews for PTE or IELTS or even TOEFL, di ba? So, there is still a solution with every challenge na pwede nilang maharap dito sa kanilang journey in Australia.
That's right. Well, I have some prepared questions or some questions coming from our aspiring international students, no? Well, sabi dyan, naghigpit na ang Australia, mahirap na, mahal na. Now, why you should still consider going to Australia?
Yeah. Well, the best answer would be, despite all of the changes kasi sir in Australia, the benefits, the perks that you can have will still be the same. Yan yung never na talagang maapektuhan kahit anong mga changes. Kasi the changes is just for the application itself or kung paano yung magiging process, di ba? But then, the offerings that Australia can give you, number one, as a student, and then as a permanent resident, is still the same. And it's actually growing pa, di ba? Mas dumadami pa yung mga opportunities na pwedeng maibigay sa'yo. So, I don't see any reason kung bakit hindi rin natin gugustuhin to settle and to study in Australia. Because up until today, no, Australia is still one of the top countries when it comes to international studies.
That's right. Well, to tell you honestly, we're not going to sugarcoat anything here, no? So that's the
Yeah.
purpose of this podcast kasi to get to know about the study destination so that they might be able to consider it or not. Okay, because very important kasi to consider it, the affordability, the cost of living, the cost of tuition fee, and the purpose of the call is the podcast is we're not going to sugarcoat anything. So in reality,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, Australia is actually very expensive. No? Mapa-tuition fee, cost of living. Sa Australia nga, ang housing dito is basically per week, hindi siya per month. So imagine, times 4 ka magbabayad ng housing mo. However, ang kagandahan kasi sa Australia, even though it is expensive, it is mahal yung tuition fee, yung cost of living is somewhat medyo mahal. Ang kagandahan lang is that all of this expensiveness are able to
Compensate. Diba, sir?
compensate the cost of living. If you would think about it, to other destination, kumbaga, it's actually very small in terms of earning. However, kahit part-time ka dito sa Australia, basically, you are able to earn something in order for you to compensate your cost of living. Like, for example, if you are working from Mondays to Thursday, iba yung rate. And then, pag you are working on Fridays, iba din yung rate times 150 if I'm not mistaken. And if you work on the weekends, actually, mas malaki siya. So, yung mga ibang international students natin that are living in Australia, basically, they are choosing to work over the weekends. Kasi yung mga Australian, ang culture nila, they don't really love or they don't really want to work in over the weekends kasi they are parang mas prefer nila yung family time over
Yes,
them
sir.
earning a lot of money. Kaya tuwang-tuwa yung mga
Opo.
international students natin, no?
Yeah.
Ayun.
That's
And
correct.
at the same time, another dito no, mga inquiries ng mga international student is kaya pa ba daw doon na mag-aral and at the same time mag-transition to a permanent resident? And then if in case that's the plan, Sir Arnold, saan sila dapat pumunta?
Well, actually, in terms of that matter, still, student visa pathway is one of the easiest pathway for someone who is aspiring to migrate or settle in Australia. Kasi ang naghigpit lang naman is with regards to the application itself or yung dun sa student visa processing. in terms of the show money or kung ilan yung English proficiency test. But with regards to settlement or yung pag-apply ng permanent residency, still, somehow it's still the same from the past, wherein student visa pathway is still one of the easiest way to migrate in Australia. And of course, in order for you guys to know more about it, then the best thing that you should do is to, of course, go with education consultancies such as Straightforward. So, for us to be able to assist you as well with regards to those matters na mas kailangan yung malaman in terms of your qualifications, kung ano ba yung mga eligibilities ninyo, no? Kasi yun yung expertise po namin, no? Provide guided or advices with regards to what fits you or what qualifies you to, to migrate in Australia and to, of course, to study in Australia.
Correct. Well, basically, ang mga Filipinos kasi they don't really understand the advantage of having the education in Australia if in case they're planned for this one. You know what?
Yeah.
I have talked with thousands of Filipinos na mga kababayan natin from Pangasinan, from Metro Manila, the time that we are doing some roadshow about study abroad. Basically, ang gusto nila agad is makapag-work sa Australia. But the problem there is there are a lot of consideration in order for the employers to hire you from the Philippines. Okay?
Yes.
And somewhat, mas prefer ng mga employers to sponsor individuals who are already physically present in Australia itself. Now, if they will be coming from the Philippines, though, it is possible. It is actually, long to process, and at the same time, if they would go to this route, they have to go through skills assessment, they have to go for nominations or employment sponsorship, and for the employer side, no, na mag-i-sponsor para sa employees from the Philippines, what will going to happen? It's actually very expensive for them. Kaya if you would think about what's the advantage of the international student kung doon sila mag-aaral, and then kung ang aim nila makapag-work sa Australia, they are physically present in Australia na. Plus, they have the international education qualification that, ayun yung hinahanap basically in order for you to qualify for the job. Okay?
Yes,
Ibang-iba ang education. Ibang-iba ang education system ng Philippines to Australia kasi sa Philippines, even though you graduated for this program, but unfortunately, hindi siya talaga yung magiging route mo in order for you to work eh. Unlike sa Australia, for example, you work as a commercial cooker, you study commercial cookery, ang pinaka-route mo lang doon is for you to work as a chef. No?
Yes.
And then, since you graduated on that program, ang kagandahan lang is that you are now automatically a skilled individual. So you just have to have a work experience in order for you to apply for permanent residency. So imagine, ang daming advantage actually. However, again, medyo mahirap na talaga. And it is true, we're not going to sugarcoat it. However, regardless, you are staying in the Philippines, you go to other study destination, the end of the day, mahirap.
Yes.
Okay? You're just going to choose your hard.
Yes. At saka ang titignan kasi din talaga dapat ng mga aspiring international students is yung long-term perspective. Ano ba yung ma-achieve nila towards studying in Australia? Yun nga yung sabi nyo, to be able to be physically onshore Australia would open a lot of doors for them in terms of, for example, di ba? When you study in Australia in a university, you can have the chance to be linked or di kaya introduced to some employers, no? During your, ano yung tawag dito, yung parang internships, di ba? So, that opens the door of you able to meet potential employers for you to be able to get sponsorship in the future, aside from being here in the Philippines and then processing a skilled visa directly to Australia. Kasi ang dami pong pagdadaanan nun actually. So, yung nomination na nabanggit nyo kanina, so magpapa-skills assessment ka pa, and then you need to check if your qualifications here in the Philippines will be recognized na dun sa Australia, di ba? So there are a lot of process, masyadong detailed or di kaya madami pang pagdadaanan yun. Rather than being in Australia, studying, di ba? And then be able to get a lot of opportunities, as well as of course yung international qualification pa lang kasi sir, yung pag sinabing mag-graduate in Australia. So even I, di ba, na experience ko yun actually when I do apply to some jobs here in the Philippines. It's very normal here in the Philippines na kapag ang isang aplikante may international qualification, mas mabilis siyang ma-recognize, mas mataas ang advantage niya compared to other applicants. Diba kasi syempre, ano yan, international qualification yan. And plus, kung titignan mo, Australia pa yan. Diba? So, there are a lot of doors talaga na pwedeng magbukas for you for
Correct.
this study pathway.
Mm-mm. Correct. Well, you know what? Story time, no? I have a lot of friends who basically tried to apply for work in Australia. Okay? Well, this was since 2019 pa until now, hindi pa sila nakakaalis. So imagine, versus to those other friends of mine na kasabay ko dapat maging international student, no? Basically, they were able to be in Australia for as fast as 3 months. Tapos, ang kagandahan lang, during the pandemic, no? Nakapasok ko sa pandemic, they were able to work full-time. And then, ang kagandahan, bago mag-end yung pandemic in 2022, no? In just matter of 19, 20, 21, 22, 3 years, they are able to get the invitation na to apply for permanent residency. So imagine, nag-antay ka ng 5 years from the Philippines, okay? Versus pumunta ka sa Australia, you try your luck, your risk, and then nagkaroon ka ng bonus to apply for permanent residency. Ayun yung mga bagay na
Yes.
something na na dapat kino-consider natin. Yes, mahirap, totoo yan, mahirap, mahal. However, if you're not going to take a risk, you're just going to stay in the Philippines, anong mangyayari sa'yo? You're just going to wait for nothing. Versus, if you go for Australia, yes, sabi natin, you go for Australia, nakapag-aral ka, nakapag-work ka, unfortunately, you are unable to become a permanent resident. Was it for you as an international student? Para sa'yo, well, you still have the international education qualification. And some of my friends na hindi nakakuha ng permanent resident at umuwi na kasi natapos na yung graduate visa nila, no? The time that they went back to the Philippines, they are able to work as a manager, they are able to open up a business. So, ang daming opportunity. Kumbaga, hindi lang siya nag-end doon mismo sa Australia. Nakapag-ipon sila sa Australia, ay yung ginamit nila pang open up a business. Nakapag-discover sila ng business partner. Now, I have a friend na yung business nila ngayon, it's already worth 200 million pesos. So, ang ganda actually ng outcome kahit hindi sila naging permanent resident. The end of the day, pinaka bottom line dyan is, was it for you if in case you're going there?
Yeah.
It's either you would be successful to become a permanent resident or you would be successful to return to the Philippines and contribute to the economy of the Philippines kasi you'll be able to pay some taxes. Okay, at the same time, you'll be able to help people because you open up a business. So, ang dami actually possibilities for international graduates.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Ayun. Ano po bang mga other things na common misconception ngayon ng mga international students, Sir Arnold, if they will go for the study pathway?
Of course, this is very common actually, no? When an international student actually goes here in the office without prior knowledge about kung ano ba talaga yung magiging pathway nila for student visa, ang common na misconception nila is that they believe na lahat ng mga courses in Australia will lead them to permanent residency. So yan, isa yan sa mga talagang tinatanong nila na, sir, ganito kasi yung qualification ko. So, will it lead to PR? Kasi according to ganitong mga nabasa ko in some DIY groups or blah, 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 there is a chance for me to migrate or to get my permanent residency in this pathway. So, ayun, that's why we're here, actually, in order to address all of these concerns. No? We are here to discuss with them kung ano ba yung mga eligible for PR pathway. So yeah. So sorry, mag-move lang ako ng konti kasi may mga bisita here in the office.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it, sir. That's it.
Yeah, well, a lot of misconception actually is that ang akala ng mga aspiring international students natin, if they study in Australia, automatically they would become a permanent resident. No?
Yeah.
So, well, unfortunately, to tell you straightforwardly, unfortunately, hindi po ganon ang pathway. Okay? However, if in case you really want to make sure that you will going to have a clear pathway for you to transition from become an international student, to be able to work after your studies, and then to immigrate, you have to make sure that you are properly well-guided pagdating sa application mo. Kasi, yes, everyone can study in Australia. Okay? Regardless, mahal yung cost of living, or anything related, basically. However, pag mali ang pinili mo kasing program, what will going to happen is it's either you're going to study again or you will going back to the Philippines. Okay, that is why
Yes.
very important to work with professionals to make sure that you will be able to have a program that aligns with the skills shortages of Australia that will make you able to work after studies through your graduate visa, and at the same time, since skilled occupations yon or kailangan siya ng economy of Australia itself, you are going to have now an opportunity to transition as a permanent resident. No? Ayun.
Yes.
Okay. Ano po bang mga other misconception na mga pinag-uusapan ng mga international students ngayon going to Australia, Sir Arnold?
Well, ano ba? Well, actually, there are a lot eh. Well, ooh, misconception. I guess, with regards to, ano ba?
Okay,
uh,
sige. Let's say for work opportunities, no?
yeah.
Ang
Uh,
common misconception ng mga international students, same as with the pathways agad to permanent residency, akala nila pag nag-aaral ka sa Australia, you will be able to have an automatic work opportunities. Well, in
oh, yeah.
reality, hindi siya ganun,
Yes.
no, Sir Arnold? Paano ba ma-qualify ang mga international student to work in Australia after the studies?
Well, it depends on the program, no? It depends on your qualification and the field of your study. For example, if you are an engineer or you are a nurse, these are considered as skilled individuals or under the skilled occupational list. For you to be able to work in Australia in your chosen profession, you would be required to attain a certification or a registration. No? So in terms of getting a program in Australia, it is very important for you guys to check if your program is going to lead you to a registration that, of course, will be beneficial for you in the future when you apply for a job in the future. Kasi, yun na nga, just mentioned earlier for nurses, for example, or for engineers. In order for you to work as a nurse in Australia, you have to be a registered nurse in Australia. I believe kahit saan country naman, di ba? Even here in the Philippines, in order for you to practice your profession, kailangan mo munang pumasa sa licensure exam. Now, speaking of licensure exam, what's differentiate Australia to the Philippines that for these individuals na mga skilled individuals na pa-plan to take, for example, engineering or nursing, there's no need for you to take a licensure exam. Yun naman yung kinagandahan na ino-offer ng Australia for you guys. We're in with the student visa pathway or student study pathway. What you need to do is just to complete your study, no? Complete it, ipasa nyo siya, and then definitely you can get your registration na, especially for nursing, for example. After you finish your studies, then you can apply for your registration. But then, of course, you have to understand po na before getting a certain program that offers, for example, Master of Nursing or Bachelor of Nursing, you have to know if that specific program na in-offer ng school will lead you or accredited siya ng mga authorities. Halimbawa, yung mga nursing bodies such as AFRA or ANMA, for example. This is for nurses. So, AFRA is the assessing authority ng mga nurses as well as the ANMAC or the Australian Nursing Midwifery Accreditation Council. So they are the one actually giving the authority for schools na yung programs nila will lead to registration. So it's very important talaga for you guys to know, no? And so yan yung advantage if you go to an education counselor or education consultancy because they are the one na mas nakakaalam nito. They are more updated with regards to the pathway ng mga program. Well, actually, hindi lang kasi dapat ang titignan natin agad dito is yung pathway to PR. Of course, yung mga certain stages muna bago tayo makarating doon sa permanent residency. Kasi, di ba, if just to discuss, for example, doon na lang, kung na tayo lumayo for nurses, di ba? In order for you to work, you need to attain your registration first. And if you haven't, or if hindi ka nakapagtrabaho, then you won't be having any eligibility for the permanent residency. Diba? So, that's why I'm telling you guys na wag natin parang i-focus yung sarili natin into, yun na, yung tinitignan natin is yung doon sa PR na agad. So, you have to check first with regards to the stages bago tayo makarating doon sa permanent residency.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of nurses, no, I have yung friend ko na able to transition to PR in what do you call this 2022. Pinadala niya din yung kapatid niya actually to study nursing here. So, yung kapatid niya basically is a senior high school. So, ang kagandahan, she was able to finish the nursing in just 3 years. Tapos, ang highlight ng program ng nursing niya is wala na siyang licensure exam. So basically,
Yes.
3 years nursing, and then at the same time, pag graduate mo ng studying ng Bachelor's of Nursing, sa ano kasi siya, University of Sydney, no? She was able to transition to agad to registered nurse na. So without any taking like in the Philippines, 'di ba? Kailangan
Yes.
natin ng Philippine licensing nursing test or something like that.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
Or kailangan ng NCLEX, something like that. But now, siya, since from senior high school to finishing the bachelor's, she was able to become a registered nurse na. No? So imagine, ang ganda ng opportunities, medyo expedited siya at ibang-iba talaga sa education qualifications natin sa Philippines. Sa Philippines, mag-aaral ka ng 4 years, you'll be able to pass your what is the NLE ba tawag? National Licensing Examinations.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so yun. So ibang-iba siya actually. Nagulat nga din ako, ganun pala, 3 years lang, tapos RN na. Diba? As long as you're able to pass the capstone, no?
Yes. Well, actually, sir, pwede yung maging 2 years pa if Master of Nursing na i-take nila. Diba?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But again, it will depend on the qualifications dun sa offered course nung specific institution na yon if leading to registration. So that's why, ayan din yung mga kailangan nilang i-check before they take those courses. So that's why, really, it's very advisable for you guys to, seek help from experts.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
kasi
let's
hindi
talk
lahat,
about
hindi lahat.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sir Arnold. Now, let's talk about what are the changes from December last year to the present naman as of August 2024. So, I know this is a conversation, naka-move on na ba lahat? Nakapag-settle ba lahat? Maayos na ba ang pag-iisip natin? Because at Straightforward, from December hanggang August, we are basically bombarded about changes of Australia. Parang every month na lang, Diyos ko, parang mga may changes. And then some of our international students also paused their application because yung mga bagong immigration policy is nakakagulat, to be honest with you. Like for example, isa sa mga nakakagulat na changes this year is that the eligibility to apply for a graduate visa is maximum of 35 years old na lang. Now, dati kasi wala naman talagang age limit si Australia, right? Now, they are now looking to attract more younger individuals. And then, if in case mag-aaral ka ng 2 years, 34 ka na, pag 36 ka na pag-graduate mo, well, unfortunately, wala ka ng graduate visa. Okay? And then, another thing na kinagulat ng lahat, okay, is yung visa approval ratings ng nagtitake ng mga vocational educational trainings versus sa mga masters. Now, in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken, ang approval rating lang yata ng mga nagtitake ng master is around as low as 32%. And then, if you were going to compare it to the higher education, basically, ang approval rating nila is 93. So, imagine, ang laki ng gap. Okay? And ang dami ding nag-hold ng applications because of these things. And then, ano po bang mga, Sir Arnold, other changes aside from the graduate visa changes and then sa mga visa approval insights?
Well, in terms of the visa application, andyan yung pag-transition from the GTE or the Genuine Temporary Entrant into GS requirement or yung Genuine Student Requirement. Wherein, ang nangyari, mas humigpit yung assessment nila with regards to visa applications or yung student visa natin. So, actually, the GS requirement is the new assessment that would ensure the genuinity of the international students. That includes the checking, of course, yung importance of the program that you are going to take in Australia. You have to, discuss properly what would be the benefits na makukuha mo, no? And then, of course, yung financial capacity requirements and then yung English proficiency requirements. So these are actually the ones na talagang naging dilemma for this past few months na talagang, yun nga sir, sabi mo, ang daming na-delay. Well, honestly, to tell you honestly, ang daming mga pause ng kanilang application because nabigla din sila, they were ready. Siyempre, ikaw ba naman na, diba, meron kang certain sabihin na natin, amount, for example, in terms of the financial, tapos biglang dumating yung pagbabago and then malaman mo na kukulangin yung funds mo, di ba? So, definitely, magkakaroon ka ng troubles. So, yung ilan sa mga international students natin is nag-pause yung kanilang application, no? But then again, sabi ko nga, nabibigla sila because they were not used to this, but us, we are actually used to this na. No, kasi 5 years or let's say 7 years ago, ito naman na kasi talaga yung application process ni Australia. It's just that ngayon, syempre, things are getting back to normal again after the pandemic. So this is a good move for Australia to, ensure that all international students are genuine, no? So, yeah.
Correct. Well, in addition to that, no, another highlights for the changes for international students in Australia is that nagkaroon na ngayon ng policy kung saan those holder of a tourist visas are no longer able to apply onshore. Okay?
Yes.
And then, before kasi, if they would like to go to Australia, if in case they would like higher chances for visa approval, the best possible route is apply through a tourist visa, then doon sila mag-apply ng student visa. Now, I believe this is around June or July, in-announce nila to,
Yes.
that those already onshore under tourist visa are no longer allowed to apply onshore. So, kailangan nila mag-exit muna at ngayon mag-apply from the Philippines. What are your takes on that, Sir Arnold? Ba't ba tingin mo ginawa ni Australia yung policy na yun?
Yeah. Well, actually kasi sir, maraming mga ganyan cases, no, na ginagawa yung mga international students because they believe and based on research then, when you apply for a student visa onshore kasi, it's more hindi siya ganun ka-straight rather than offshore ka. So there is a higher percentage na ma-approve yung application mo once na nag-apply ka onshore. So maybe nasilip na siya ni immigration. And yan, sabi niya, it's enough. Masyado nang maraming gumagamit ng tourist visa as their stepping stone to, migrate and go to Australia. So, syempre, di natin sila masisisi kasi siguro masyado na natin ginamit yung pathway na yun for us to, migrate in Australia.
Correct. Well, for me, no, based on my research, bakit daw ginawa ni Australia to? Well, a lot of kasi international tourist visa holder. Kumbaga, ang ginawa is inabuse yung policy na to kung saan they are shopping a lot of institutions. And then ang nangyayari, nagiging pathway siya ngayon para it's either TNT sila or mag-enroll lang sila to get the student visa. Then after nila makuha yung COE or the visa itself, pagkaroon sila ng status, what happened is bigla na nagdi-disappear yung mga international student. So they made this kind of policy to make sure na lahat ng papasok talaga from the Philippines or the rest of the world basically are genuine students. No? Medyo shocking, to be honest with you. Mind-blowing talaga tong Australia. Actually, hindi lang Australia. Canada also has introduced a lot of changes, including the UK, New Zealand. New Zealand introduced pero hindi naman siya ganun kabigat. Okay? Compare kay Canada, Australia, and the UK. And yeah, so far, basically, ayun yung mga remarkable changes that is happening right now. At isa pa pala, the cost of the application fee for student visa is now 1,600.
Yes.
Have you heard of that, Sir Arnold?
Yes, opo sir, no. Ang laki ng tinaas niya. Actually, doubled ni. Mas talagang hindi lang dinoble. So, ang laki ng tinaas actually.
Times 200% actually.
Yeah.
From the last year. So last year, I believe, parang mga nasa lang siya, around 28,000. But now, it's around 60,000 pesos.
Yes.
So imagine if you do a DIY, you apply, you get the acceptance of the school, you're able to apply for the visa, tapos na-refuse ka. Now, what will going to happen is panibagong bayad ka na naman ng 1,600 Australian dollar or 60,000 pesos. It's actually very big, no? 16,000. Sa mga ibang school, like vet courses, dagdag ka na lang ng another 1,600. Basically, meron ka ng deposit. Right?
Yes.
So,
Oo
masakit
nga,
siya
sir.
actually. So, ito, Sir
Mm-mm.
Arnold, since nagtaas na ng application fees for the student visa, what could you advise to the aspiring international student who are still looking to pursue or study in Australia?
Well, it's very important for you guys to understand kasi that studying in abroad requires a certain investment talaga. No? Um, Wherein, syempre, lahat naman tayo would want to invest in our future. No? Tapos, hindi ka naman makakakuha ng return of investment without investing anything. Now, with
Right.
regards to these changes kasi, to address lang, we will never know kasi if this will remain as, 1600 or pwedeng tumaas pa to. 'Di ba? Sa the way na
Correct.
gumagalaw yung immigration ng Australia ngayon. And so, why not to take advantage of the current situation, no? And start your application if talaga naman na ready na kayo, then definitely hindi pa kasi natin makokontrol or hindi natin malalaman if mas tataas pa ito or hindi lang actually sir hindi lang about dito sa application fee ng visa fee, no, even in other policies as well, hindi rin natin alam kung ano pa yung mga changes na darating. And so right now habang kahit papaano, we are confident na still manageable pa rin naman to enter Australia and to apply for a student visa. And then, I believe this is the right time to take advantage of the situation na kahit papaano, ano pa lang siya controllable pa, kumbaga.
Correct. Well, yeah. Yun nga. Just to add to what you have said, Sir Arnold, basically, yun nga. Avoid costly mistake, to be honest. Okay? You have
Yes.
to make sure that you are properly guided in choosing the right program para makapag-work ka. You will be able to have a pathway for permanent residency. So, imagine the investment alone doon sa visa is expensive na. If you're going to compare it to the rest of the study destination, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, US, or even Europe, basically, si Australia ngayon ang number one. Number one sa pinakamahal na visa fees. So imagine if your application will be refused, panibagong fees na naman yun. So it's better, though you can definitely do it as a DIY. Okay? It's just that you have to make sure that you will be properly well guided. So if in case, yun nga, you are interested about study in Australia program despite of the changes, immigration policies, and you still see na si Australia is for you, then definitely don't hesitate to reach us out. Just like for me, okay? Even though I am managing an agency for quite some time, I'm also still planning to study in Australia next year. Yes, I have understood the changes. Okay? Na pwede na lang ako mag-work 24 hours per week. And then, yung programs ko will not be eligible for a graduate visa. Okay? So, despite of that, I still understand the benefit of studying abroad kasi. Okay? So, what the program that I'm planning to take, Sir Arnold, is actually related to migration in Australia. No?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, yung migration law, wala kasi siyang graduate visa. So, why is it for me taking that program? Because, marami na tayong marami na tayong clients na international student that are now in Australia. And at the same time, I would like to make sure that Straightforward Education will be able to give the best possible advice para mag-guide ang mga students natin in choosing the right program that will going to lead them to work and eventually immigrate, mga ganun. So, it's actually, the risk for studying abroad is actually depends on you. Are you motivated ba to study abroad because you're able to work? Will you be motivated
Yeah.
because you're going to have an opportunity to immigrate hereafter? Or do you have other reasons like me na the reason why I would like to study in Australia because nakikita ko that it will going to benefit me as a person or my company in general para makatulong pa tayo ng maraming Filipinos. No?
Yes,
So ayun
that's
yung
correct,
mga
sir.
dapat tinatanong sa sarili. Like, if you engage with Straightforward, regardless other ibang destination niya, so pa Canada, Australia, or New Zealand, we do an interview questions first to our clients. We ask, what's your motivation ba to study abroad? Okay? Because on that question, we will be able to know kung ano mga possible na ma-advise namin sa kanya na piliing study destination. Kasi ganito yan. Let's say, for example, my motivation to study abroad, it's because gusto ko mag-immigrate. Now, will you be able to immigrate in Australia? It is possible. However, it has to be very strategic. Mga ganun. So, we do profiling to make sure that we align with your goals, with your motivation, and at the same time, your future outcome. Because at the end of the day, it is a big investment. And this investment could be the biggest investment that you can do. Right, Sir Arnold? Ikaw ba, Sir Arnold? What's
Yeah,
your
that's
plan?
right. Well, actually, me, no, as someone who have experienced being an international student as well in Australia, no? Just like you, sir, no, yung pathway ko kasi will not lead me to a graduate visa, and even hindi
Mhm.
siya included dun sa skilled occupational list. But then me, as someone who saw the opportunity, no, in Australia, ano ba yung mga bagay na pwede kong makuha despite, yun nga, yung having those challenges. I am still planning to go back to Australia kasi ang dami talagang pwedeng i-offer, no? Well, actually, yun nga guys, it depends pa rin talaga on your goals at the end of the day kung bakit ka mag-aaral in Australia. Well, for me, no, if you believe that Australia will give you a peace of mind, then come to Australia. If you believe that Australia would give you a sense of, financial stability that could give you the opportunity to help your family, then go to Australia. Diba? So, actually, if we're going to answer the question, is it still worth it to study in Australia? It's very subjective na,
Correct.
kumbaga, depende yan sa magiging goal mo. Or, I mean,
Correct.
depende yan sa plans mo in the future. If your plan is to immigrate, then seek for advice ng mga experts in order for you to get the best advice that would give you an advantage or easier way for you to achieve your plans, di ba? If your plan is for more on the career progression or talagang to equip lang yourself with the knowledge na kakailanganin mo in the future when you go back here in the Philippines or if you apply to other countries, then um, hindi ka actually, you can never go wrong. As long as clear yung vision mo in going Australia. And again, as what Sir Jay said kanina, studying in Australia talaga would require a big investment. But then, of course, you are investing to yourself. Diba?
Correct.
You're not just investing for anything. This is for your own future. So, yeah. For me, kung kaya ko lang, sir, pumunta bukas, then why not, di ba? If papipiliin ako kung a certain amount of money or go in Australia, I would definitely choose Australia because there's a lot to, get in Australia. A lot of opportunities. The place itself is really, amazing.
Correct. So since we are able to give insight about the recent changes of Australia, no, let's talk about you naman, Sir Arnold. You used to be an international student in Australia, right? Saan ka nun located, sir?
Kita ako sa Melbourne.
Melbourne. Okay, so how do you find
Yeah,
Melbourne?
Melbourne. Totoo yung sabi nila, multiple seasons in a day. No? Yan talaga yung una mo mapapansin na papasok kang summer, uuwi kang winter. Ganun.
Correct.
Ganun.
Correct.
But then of course, Melbourne is for those international students na very outgoing. I believe.
Mhm.
Kasi ako, I was very outgoing. I love to go to places or I mean to get along with other people. So, Melbourne could offer that to you guys. No, if you are someone na or you're the type of person na talagang gustong lumalabas, may mga maraming gustong napupuntahan, then Melbourne is for you. But then, of course, you have to understand, consider the cost of living in Melbourne. Yan yung mga isa natin kailangan i-consider when applying for a program or going abroad as well. Yeah.
Correct. Well, Melbourne is one of the most popular destinations for aspiring international students, though. Especially from the past 5 years, and dami actually mga Filipinos, they preferred Melbourne versus Sydney. Okay, I have talked a lot of people here in Sydney, asking about which one is your favorite. Do you prefer Melbourne or Sydney? Sabi nila, mas prefer daw nila si Melbourne kasi mas laid back daw siya. Okay, and at the same time, well, I've been there in Melbourne as well, so I can attest na masarap na talaga yung kape sa Melbourne din. And isa sa mga consideration. So way back 2022, I used to travel all over Victoria as well. Nag-visit tayo ng mga school partners dyan, including Kaplan Business Schools, University of Victoria, RMIT, mga ganon. So yeah, I can see that Melbourne is really this good. Okay, kumbaga, if you're going to compare it to the US, para siyang Los Angeles na eh. Okay? And then if you go for Sydney, para naman siyang New York. So mga ganon. So yeah. What's your favorite sir? If you remember, yung favorite restaurant or coffee shop mo doon?
Ang dami kasi sir eh. Pero nabuhay ako that time 7-Eleven.
Sabi,
Siyempre, international student tayo noon. Hindi naman tayo, that financially capable. No, so,
Mhm.
kumbaga meron kasi dati, pagkakaalala ko, parang there is a certain day in a week wherein libre yung kape sa 7-Eleven. You just have to bring your own cup. You just have to bring
Correct.
your own cup. And then, so ginagawa ko ganun. Dinadala ko, medyo malaki pa yung ano ko, kung dami doon. So, yun talaga, 7-Eleven. But then, there are a lot of coffee shops. Anywhere you walk, maamoy mo yung aroma nung coffee.
Coffee.
So,
Ayun, Sir
mm.
Arnold, no? So, as an international student ba, during your time, are part-time jobs accessible? Madali lang ba maghanap ng trabaho? And then, if in case you're finding job, how do you do it?
Well, on my time, this is pre-pandemic, no? Well,
Mhm.
actually, marami. Actually, no, daming opportunities for a part-time job. But then, it is very important. Ito isang tips din for our aspiring international student. No? So, it is very important for you to use your resources. Kasi marami ng Filipinos in Melbourne specifically, or kahit actually sa ibang part ng Australia. So, Filipino communities are very helpful. You know naman, that's very common for us Filipinos to help our fellow kababayans
Right.
in other countries. So, take advantage of that. Marami na kasi, sila kasi mostly sa mga, like for example, restaurants or other mga establishments, meron kang makikitang Pinoy dyan. No? So, ang nangyari kasi sa akin that time, so maraming mga Filipinos na nakilala, naging kaibigan. So, there are some referrals na pwedeng mangyari for you guys that you could take advantage of. Diba? So, if you are having a hard time to look for a part-time job by yourself, there's nothing wrong about getting help or seeking help from others. Especially kung
That's
Pinoy
right.
naman din yan. Diba?
Totoo yun.
So, kasi syempre, isa pa sa mga kailangan natin dyan i-consider is yung, actually, this is very cliche na when you go abroad, kailangan di ka mapili ng trabaho. No?
Correct.
So, yeah, there are a lot of possible part-time jobs actually that are available in Australia. But as long as, of course, you have to be, hindi ka dapat mapili.
Correct. So, I guess this would be my last question for you, Sir Arnold, since you are one of our key speaker, no? Um, Aside from the fact that you are working to a study abroad agency and you became an international student in the past, tatanungin kita, Sir Arnold, on your perspective, do you think studying abroad really benefit you the time that you went back to the Philippines and then may pinagsisihan ka ba na nag-aral ka sa Australia at bumalik ka?
Yeah. Well, just to answer your question honestly, ang tanging pinagsisihan ko lang is that I wasn't able to go back to Australia talaga. Kasi parang
Mm,
lagi napapaisip ako actually na what if hindi ako umuwi ng Philippines, ano na kaya yung buhay ko ngayon in Australia? Kasi as I can see the situation ngayon ng mga kaibigan ko doon, ng mga nakasabayan ko din, they're actually doing well na. No, so definitely yun lang yung tanging pinagsisisihan ko. But then with regards to the opportunities that I have got by studying in Australia, actually ang laking advantage sa akin when I go back here in the Philippines. Yung tipong when you apply for a job, you will initially be recognized since meron kang international qualification. No? So it will definitely give you an advantage, with your competitors, of course. And then, not just in terms of knowledge and yung tipong nakapag-aral ka, but also you're able to meet other culture kasi since Australia offers a diverse community, di ba? So I was able to expose myself in other culture, was able to adapt on their good practices, di ba? And so I was able to apply that with my personality right now. So definitely those are my gains in going Australia na hindi
correct.
hindi ko makukuha, I believe in, you know,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Well, to tell you honestly, the time that you applied with Straightforward Education, basically meron tayong around 6 competitors during your interview, no? Well, one of the key highlights kung bakit na-hire po si Arnold sa Straightforward, no? Because we see that Arnold does have the first-hand experience And for me, as an agency owner, it's really an advantage kasi alam na ni Sir Arnold yung experience of being an international student, alam niyo na yung paghihirap doon, alam niyo na kung ano dapat niyang ginawa in order for him to be successful as well. Yeah, that's another consideration. Imagine niyo na lang, Sir Arnold applied for me and I'm the employer. And out of the 6 employees, Sir Arnold was able to get the job. So yeah. So ayun yung mga key wins as well. And yeah, sobrang laki na contribution ni Sir Arnold by having his perspective join Straightforward Education. Ganun. Ayun, Sir Arnold, do you have any questions for me as well?
Well, actually, sir, I'm good. I think everything was already tackled for this podcast. So, for our viewers na lang, if ever meron silang mga questions, feel free to message us, guys. So, we have our Facebook page right there. And so, you can always message us for your questions. And if you wish to book your consultation with us or go in our physical office, we are always open po, no? So just let us know where kung saan namin kayo pwedeng i-assist.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, Sir Arnold, for joining this first ever podcast session by Straightforward Education. And I hope yung mga audience natin that are still considering Australia as a study destinations are able to gain a lot of knowledge, regardless you would like to work with Straightforward Education or not. At least you have this first-hand experience or knowledge so that you'll be able to approach your intention to study abroad with strategic mind. And at the same time, you are able to set your proper expectation na the end of the day, okay, whether you choose Australia, Canada, or stay in the Philippines, you just have to choose your heart. Would you rather hard in the Philippines, or would you like to work hard in Australia to pave your way for future immigration opportunities or work opportunities, or in general, kung hindi man guaranteed yung opportunities for us to immigrate, is that we will be able to have a world-class education that if in case you return to the Philippines, magagamit mo siya. If you decided to work abroad, magagamit mo din siya. So it's actually a win-win, no? It's a really good investment for everyone. So yeah, so thanks so much everyone for joining our podcast. And on the next next session, we will be going to join naman by one of our international recruitment manager at Straightforward to talk about what are the unique offerings right now at Straightforward Educations if you also going to choose study in Canada. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned. And then, visit nyo lang po yung Facebook page namin. So, Sir Arnold, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And looking forward that we will be able to have another sessions naman in regards to other things that could help our audiences to pursue their study abroad through Australia and Straightforward Education. So, once again, thank you so much, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. See you soon.